Before the news, we heard from director Martin Scorsese, but in many ways this film is Robert De Niro's. He was the one who wanted to make it before going on to win an Oscar for his memorable portrayal of Jake LaMotta. He explained to me how he tried to sell the idea to Scorsese.
I read the book and I called him. I was doing 1900 for Bertolucci in northern Italy, and I said, "This is an interesting book. Not so well written, but it just had a lot of heart and so on." So Marty read it, and then we talked about it, and then he was interested, and we were trying to get it going, and went through a lot of phases, and then finally Paul Schrader gave us the structure. We had a writer named Martin working on it. He and I were working on it. We wanted to make it I had a thought of doing it as a play in the day and at night, and shooting it in the day and stuff. I thought that might be interesting, but it was just very ambitious, and at the end of the day, not really realistic, I guess. And I always wanted to experiment with this thing of seeing a fighter who. I remember I used to see Jake in the city working at these kind of clubs and stuff, and just walk off the street, you'd see him standing at the door, and I'd say to myself, he's a lot heavier and kind of out of shape, and I thought that was kind of interesting, the contrast, a young fighter in their prime, and later on they sort of gained this weight, and it's a whole different transformation almost, and I thought, it'd be interesting to do that and take a hiatus in the film and gain as much weight and so on and so forth.
The transformation is interesting, isn't it? Because from speaking to Martin, it was the putting on weight that caused you more problems than the getting into shape for the boxing.
Yeah, the putting on weight, I mean, it's fun for the first 15 pounds. I gained 60 pounds. I got as trim and as lean and as in best fighting shape as I could for my body to about 152, and then I got up to 212 when at my heaviest. But it's, as I say, the 15 pounds, that's okay, eating, that's whatever you want, and after that it's just hard work.
I think Martin said to me he tried to make the shooting, when you'd put all the weight on, he tried to make the filming a little faster because of the health issue.
Well, yeah, he probably did. He wouldn't tell me that. He'd just be sensitive to this condition, and then it's not like then we stop shooting, and the next day I lose it all back. It takes a few months to lose it back gradually. So yeah, he was concerned about that, I'm sure.
How difficult were the boxing scenes to do for you?
Well, they weren't difficult. I mean, you're not having actual fights. It's all choreographed and stuff. If you had actual fights, and even Jake told me, he said, "Well, what's the problem? You get in there and you fight." I said, "Well, we said no, you can't do that. We'd last 2 days. It's that." We shot those sequences. I remember the fight sequences for about 9 months, and the other stuff around 9, the dramatics. I followed the other part of the script, other than the fight scenes, about another 9 weeks, I think, and then 2 weeks or so, or 3 with the interim and the heavier stuff. Yeah,
because Martin said to me something like that at times there could be 9 or 10 people in the ring when filming the boxing scenes.
Right. The technicians, the cameraman, the assistant,
sure.
Camera assistant, the focus puller, a lot of...
Because if you had been allowed to box, Jake LaMotta has said, hasn't he, that you were one of his top 20 best middleweight boxers of all time?
Yeah, well, he was just saying that.
Really?
I mean, I worked hard on it and practiced a lot, with Jake, but it's a great exercise and a great thing to do when you can do it.
Were you a boxing fan before the film?
Not much. I followed some fights, but not much. No.
We've interviewed Jake LaMotta for our program, and he says he was and he said he was very proud of you and witnessed the way that you became more like him than him. Is that the greatest praise for an actor?
Yeah, I mean, I did work very hard. We all did, and with Jake, and he was a great help, and it was a great experience.
I watched your Oscar acceptance speech, and you left the last person to thank as Jake LaMotta, and he looked humbled by that thank you.
Yeah, well, of course I thank him. It's because of him that the whole thing happened. Writing a story with Pete Savage, who was not with us anymore, was responsible for it.
The last line in the film, "I was blind, now I can see," relates to the struggle of a man to live with his dark side. Was that difficult to relate to during the film, the dark side of LaMotta?
Well, I never looked at him as being so dark. I mean, when you look at people, characters, as an actor, you always see it from their point of view, and they don't look at it as if they're doing something that's wrong, or they feel that they're justified in whatever they're doing. So it might be perceived as wrong by some, but it doesn't mean it's wrong. You know, for my character's reasons. One person's poison is another person's pleasure, blah, blah, blah.
Are they the kind of characters that are more interesting to play as an actor?
Yeah, they are. They are, yeah.
And there are rumours on the internet that a Raging Bull 2 could be made, chronicling the last 25 years or so.
I haven't heard about it, but, I mean, that's an interesting idea. I actually thought about the other day, I was saying, you know, but I don't know. That's up, you know, Marty and I, we're trying to do another movie based on a book called I Heard You Paint Houses. Myself, Marty, and then Joe Pesci and Al Pacino. Pacino playing Jimmy Hoffa, and Joe Pesci playing a friend of ours, the Hoffa character and my character in this story.
And as we let you go, one of your proudest films, one of the films that you're most proud of?
Oh yeah, of course, Raging Bull, absolutely.
Robert De Niro talking to me earlier this week. Well,